Welcome to the NFL for Travon Walker. What stood out otherwise to you watching the Jaguars last night, who didn't have Trevor Lawrence in uniform? No Travis Etienne, scaled down to a certain extent, but a team that's trying to turn it around and move in the right direction. What did you see?
Well, I mean, I think when you look at it, Travon Walker is the one thing that immediately stands out because he's a number one overall pick, but he's a guy that's pretty, let's call it unheralded. I mean, in comparison to the last few number one overall picks that we've had here in this league. And that's probably because he's not a quarterback, but also because he wasn't necessarily the highest profile guy when he was in college. But I think you saw some of those elements that the Jaguars really liked when he was coming out, because he's able to get to the passer. He's got a couple of moves. Now, he wasn't going up against an all-pro. It's not like he's going up against Trent Williams there, but he is getting into the backfield. He's making moves. He's making his presence felt. And that's what you want to see out of a young pass rusher, because there's not that much else to see, when you're thinking about things like this. So can he go up against guys and win? He was able to do that last night, and that's at least encouraging if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and you want to start turning things around this year.
Challenging projection in the draft because he wasn't expected to rush the passer all the time. At Georgia, didn't have a lot of sacks. Leapfrogged Aiden Hutchinson. We spent so much time thinking it was going to be Hutchinson at number one. The Jaguars talked themselves into Walker. The Lions ran the card literally to the podium, to the point where the NFL was upset. Like, slow down, please. We're trying to have a show here. We don't want these picks coming in too quickly. But the Lions had no doubts whatsoever about Aiden Hutchinson, and that's going to be an apples-to-apples comparison, how Hutchinson's career goes and how Walker's career goes. And we'll see. And there's a school of thought out there, too. One of the themes that came up in conversations this week, the idea that when you have that number one overall pick, and of course the Jaguars have had it for 2 straight years, but that's an opportunity / obligation to get a guy who is going to fundamentally change your organization. Now, they got it with Lawrence at quarterback, but I guess the argument could be made that when you get it the 2nd straight year, if there isn't that guy out there that is just clear-cut, no-brainer, gotta have this guy, that's when you entertain trading out of the spot. The problem is there really wasn't that guy this year that everyone was clamoring for, that Stephen Ross would have wanted to tank for. There really wasn't anyone like that this year.
Man, Stephen Ross just comes in. Like, why am I in it? But yeah, Stephen Ross, you're in it.
If he has any doubt whatsoever, he's just got to Google your name, Stephen.
No, but you're right. I mean, and that's kind of the thing this year. There just wasn't that guy where you're like, oh man, I got to go up. I got to trade up. I got to do something. And usually that happens with quarterbacks, right? We saw it last year with Trey Lance and the San Francisco 49ers. They had to go up and get him and then give up everything that they gave up. And now they've got this situation with Jimmy Garoppolo where they have no idea where they're going to unload him to. So all these things are sort of circumstantial. And when you're the Jaguars and you have 2 first overall picks in a row, I mean, it's interesting. The last time that happened was with the Cleveland Browns, right? They go with Myles Garrett first. They get the edge rusher first, and then they get Baker Mayfield. And well, Baker Mayfield's no longer there a few years later. And then now we see Trevor Lawrence. Then the next year they go and get the pass rusher. So, if the quarterback works out better than it did for Cleveland, I think that's going to be a much better thing for the Jacksonville Jaguars and set them up on a good trajectory. But the pass rusher, you never know what's going to happen with guys like that. They could come in and maybe they have one move and they do a really good job a little bit, and then the tackles start adjusting to him, and then it's like, uh-oh, how do I counter this? I don't know. Or you can have that counter to the punch, and then you say, all right, well, this is going to be something that continues to carry me forward throughout the years of my career. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Jaguars can do.
I could be wrong on this because I'm pretty much wrong on everything, but I don't think a team's ever had 3 straight years of number one overall pick. I don't think that's ever happened, because I think that I would instantly know that. And that, hopefully for the Jaguars, they will break that streak this year.
I think they will.
I expect them to be better than they were last year. Can't be much worse, but they're in a very difficult conference. The only thing that saves them is being in the same division as the Texans. And maybe they can pick off they've beaten the Colts 2 straight years at home. in seasons that resulted in earning the #1 overall pick. So maybe they can win 2 or 3 games just in the division this year and lay the foundation for something more in the future.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.